Okay, we're dividing this into two sections. 4G phones that are available in the market currently, go for them if you are going to use the phones for a short period of time. Since the 5G era is already around the corner in India, 5G phones that are upcoming, go for them if you have time to wait for something better. We won't stick to the 10,000 rupee mark for 5G. No such phone is upcoming, rumored or currently available as of now. Realme Narzo 30 5G would be our topic, since it is probably the cheapest 5G currently available in India. In today's episode of Top Picks, we are going to talk about the best phones available under 10,000 rupee. First, we are talking about 4G phones. Remember that 5G is created mainly by increasing the frequency of the network connections. And as we know that on increasing the frequency, the area of service availability decreases, right? 5G will hence be implemented in such a way that a phone will be able to switch between 4G and 5G if the network is just too bad. Hence 4G will remain with us for a long time. Starting with the list, we have the Realme Narzo 30A. We all know that Realme has provided phones with incredible features at a low price for a long time. The Narzo 30A is equipped with a Helio G85 processor, 3GB of RAM, internal storage of 32GB, a 6000 mAh battery which they expect to last for 10 hours of gaming. The cameras are 13 megapixel plus 2 megapixel with 8 megapixel front camera. Expected not to work like magic in low light, but will definitely perform okay under bright conditions. The design is not as attractive as the Poco M3, it rather has a stripped dark design. The phone is mainly performance oriented, and compared to MIUI, as we know how smooth is ColorOS, and Realme UI is definitely based on ColorOS. It will definitely be a good one to try. The phone but feels a bit too weighty, and think mainly due to the big battery inside, it has a bit of weight. The display is pretty good, and with a 560 nits max brightness and a large bezels from the sides are there, which is very much expected at such a low price. A 60Hz display panel, but definitely nice for 8,999 rupee. Next we have Poco M2 with a crazy 6 gigs of RAM, MediaTek Helio G80 processor, 64 gigs of ROM, that is the internal memory, and expandable up to 512GB, and 16.59cm, that is 6.53 inch of full HD plus display, and a quad camera setup with 13 megapixel plus 8 megapixel plus 5 megapixel plus 2 megapixel. 13 megapixel is probably definitely the main camera, 8 megapixel for ultra wide, 5 megapixel for macro, and 2 megapixel for depth sensing, and 8 megapixel front camera. 5000 mAh lithium ion polymer battery, and MediaTek Helio G80 processor as mentioned earlier. A dual pattern on the back breaks the monotony of the design. It runs MIUI 12. Other than some heating issues while gaming, it works fine. Poco M3 is available too at 10,999 rupee, but we are sticking to less than 10,000 strictly here. And if you now go and purchase the M2 from Flipkart, it is currently available for 9,999 rupee. Next we have Poco C3 in the list. If performance is secondary and what you need is productivity and not gaming, Poco C3 will be your choice. Loaded with 4GB of RAM, 64GB of ROM, expandable up to 512GB, and a similar 6.5 inch HD plus 60Hz panel, and 13 megapixel plus 2 megapixel plus 2 megapixel camera, and a 5 megapixel front camera with a 5000 mAh lithium ion battery and a MediaTek Helio G35 processor will definitely be worth the money. The main problems though with MIUI are mainly concerning the system animations. There are occasional delays and glitches in the system that I find. The RAM management is just bad. If you want an application to be running in the background for a long time, you just can't do it. It will automatically reload itself from scratch whenever you try to return to it. This however helps to conserve the battery. The RAM management on ColorOS is opposite on the other hand. The system animations are smooth and there are almost no lags or glitches. That buttery smooth experience you are not going to get in MIUI. But in spite of this, MIUI does the job. The camera is okayish and the performance of the camera is fine under ample light. Priced at 7,499. in Flipkart currently. If you think that stock Android is the least distracting user interface, then you can definitely go for Motorola's E7 Power, MediaTek's Helio G25, but it is stock Android and hence it will be smooth. 4 gigs of RAM with 64 gigs of ROM and expandable up to 1 TB. So I think you can definitely go for it because the expandability of the storage is really great. And 6.51 inch of HD plus display at 60 Hz, definitely 13 megapixel plus 2 megapixel of back camera and 5 megapixel front camera. Now Motorola does not have huge respect for cameras. You gotta know that what you're going to expect at this price point from Motorola. This phone is for definitely for work and light games. Don't buy it if you're a heavy gamer, you won't like it. 5000 mAh of battery. Now about the 5Gs. If you want something great, you always need to wait, and buying a budget phone can, during a change from one generation of mobile network to another, can be very frustrating, and I can understand this. And if you don't mind spending a little more to get something better, then you're definitely covered here. Realme Narzo 30 Pro 5G. It has 6 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of internal storage, triple camera setup of 48 megapixel, 8 megapixel and 2 megapixel at the back with a 16 megapixel front camera, 5000 mAh battery and MediaTek Dimensity 800U processor, a 120Hz display with 180Hz touch sampling. This is great. I think if you have the budget of that much amount, then you should go for this. A 120Hz display with a 180Hz touch sampling would just be very buttery smooth, and the touch response would be really nice. 30 watt dart charge and 5000 mAh battery as mentioned earlier for charging up, and a super nightscape mode for dedicated night shots, and Dolby Atmos and high-res audio. The price is 17,000 rupee, probably the cheapest 5G as of now which you can get from Flipkart. If you don't mind about the design of the plain silver blade at the back, which is a bit monotonic on the other hand compared to Poco's M3, which is really flashy, then you can definitely go for it. This phone is a little thick though, but it is not weighty.